Howdy. What's going on, you guys, and howdy doody neighbors. Today we're going to be learning the song Fancy Like by Walker Hayes. This song is popping in country music right now, and it has a really cool riff that you can definitely learn. I would encourage you to work at it until you really nail it, but later in this video I will show you some basic chords that you can play instead. The rest of the song after the intro is quite straightforward and simple, so without any further ado, let's get into it. You are watching Logan's Lessons. Our capo is on the 4th fret. We are in standard tuning, and we're going to be starting on the D string, which is the 3rd string from our face. You play that down once, then you play an up down. So we have a down, up, down. On that last down, we are going to hammer on to the 4th fret from our capo on our D string with our 3rd finger. So a hammer-on is where you do not pick again, but you push down on a new note, and you have to do so quickly, as if you're hammering onto the note. That's where the name came from. The hammer-on should sound like this. So far we have. Right after that, we play the 2nd fret of our G string with our 1st finger. Like so. Play it with me. Faster. Then we have 3 more notes in this phrase. We are going to start on the 2nd fret of our G string. You're going to play that a note again, but you're then going to hammer that on to the 4th fret of the G. So, and finally, our last note is the 3rd fret of our B string with our middle finger. So if I play that whole thing slowly, play it with me. Faster. One more time. Okay, so that first phrase happens twice in a row. Then we get into the 2nd phrase of the riff. That will start on the 7th fret from our capo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the D string. And you play this fret with your ring finger in the same rhythm you did in the phrase 1 with the open D string. So this one will be a down, up, down. From there you'll play the 6th fret of your G string. And finally the 5th fret of your B string. Notice how it looks like a staircase. So I'll play that slowly. Play it with me. And from there we play the 5th fret of our B string once more. The 9th fret of that same string is next. And last but not least, we have the 5th fret of our high E string. So, kind of just like we did over here. Just up here. So, together we have. Play it with me slowly. Again. One more time. Faster now. The ending of the 3rd phrase, if you will, is different than the ending of the 2nd, which we just learned. Let's get that now. So this 3rd phrase is going to start the same way as the 3rd. But here is where it changes. Instead of doing the, we are going to do a chromatic walk down from the 7th fret of our B to the 6th fret of our B to the 5th fret of our B. So. And one last note, which is the 7th fret of our G. So that ending is. So if I play the whole 3rd phrase, play it with me slowly. Faster. Okay, so if I play the whole riff slowly. Play it with me. Faster now. Awesome, so that is the main riff of this song. I would advise you to pause this video right here and not go any further until you've mastered the main riff. That being said, I'm going to be now showing you the basic chords to learn for this song, and that includes the part that could be played instead of the main riff if it proves to be too challenging. Starting with the verse, we have two chords. The first chord we have is a D major chord. This chord will be accomplished by putting your first finger on the second fret of your G string. Your third finger will be on the third fret of your B string. And finally, your middle finger on the second fret of your high E string. It should sound like this. The other chord we have in the verse is an A major chord. This chord can be accomplished one of two ways. The first way to play it is by putting your first finger on the second fret of your D string, your middle right under that on the second fret of your G, and finally your ring finger on the second fret of your B. It should sound like this. Now the way I prefer to play it is by barring your first finger across the second fret of your D, G, and B strings. Do whatever is most comfortable for you and whatever sounds the best. Option A may be better for you because you are using 3 fingers, and 3 fingers means 3 times the muscle, which means that you can push down the strings harder. So if you're experiencing string buzz or you're having difficulty holding the strings down all the way, option A is for you. If that is not the case and you have bigger fingers maybe like I do, or you're just feeling claustrophobic, I would recommend option 2. Okay, so let's talk strumming pattern. Strumming pattern is crucial to be able to achieve the vibe, the sound, and the groove of the song. And so because of that, we're going to spend a little extra time refining it. And it is worthy to mention that the strumming pattern stays the same throughout the entire song. The strumming pattern goes down, down, up, root note, down. I'll do that again. Down, down, up, root note, down. First thing I want to mention is why I am shouting certain notes. What I'm trying to convey to you is dynamics, meaning where some strums are louder than others. This is really important for the feel. So what I want you to notice is that the first strum is much quieter than the second. The way I accomplish this is by either strumming softer for the first note or by palm muting. Palm muting is where you rest the side of your palm on the strings. So the first strum should sound like this. Then the second strum should be explosive compared to that. Just strum harder. So we have a soft, big. Then the up coming after that should be of similar volume to the second strum, but definitely not harder. Err on the conservative side. So, but then we get into a root note. A root note is usually, but not always, the lowest note of a chord. For all of the chords we are using today, that is going to be the case. For our D major chord, our root note is going to be our D. There are other notes in a D major chord, but that's a topic for a completely different video. All I need you to do for this song, for this chord, is to play the open D string, which is the third string from your face. That is the root note for our D major chord. For our A chord, our root note is our open A string. You just have to make sure that you're playing the A string. And then after that root note, we have another explosive strum. So the whole strumming pattern goes like this. And if we translate that to the A major chord, one thing to note here is that we're going to play the strumming pattern twice for the D major chord and then twice for the A major chord. That's important, remember that. Okay, play that with me slowly. Faster. Sick! So that is the verse, but it's also exactly how you play the intro. So that is what you could interchange from the main riff. Now let's talk about the pre-chorus. We're just going in chronological order here. For this section, we are starting on a G major chord, which will be played by putting your middle finger on the third fret of our low E string. Then we're going to put our first finger on the second fret of our A. Then way down here we have our third finger on the third fret of our B string, the second string from the floor. And finally, our pinky's right below that on the third fret of our high E string, the first string from the floor. Should sound like this. From there we go to an A major chord, just like in the verse. Remember, the strumming pattern stays the same, but here I'm only going to play the G major chord one time through the strumming pattern, the A major chord one time through the strumming pattern, but after that I'm just going to let it ring out. I'll play it slowly. Play along with me. Faster now. Great, that was the pre-chorus. Let's get the chorus. The chorus is largely like the verse. The first time through, we play the D major chord twice through the strumming pattern, then the A major chord twice through the strumming pattern, just like the verse. Right after that, it changes slightly, where we do twice through the strumming pattern for the D chord, then once through the strumming pattern for the A major chord, and then once again for the D major chord. If I play the chorus, and you're back in the intro, baby. You know? So after that, we are into a second verse, which is identical to the first one, then a pre-chorus, which is the same as the first pre-chorus, and then a chorus, which is also the same as what I just taught you. But right here, this is where it changes. We're going into a bridge. Now, the bridge is interesting because it actually plays just like what you would play for a verse and a pre-chorus. So you'll be playing twice through the D, twice to the A, to the G, to the A, you let it ring out, and we are back into the chorus. Really nothing crazy there. That last chorus is the same as any of the previous choruses, and you end on that D. And that is the song Fancy Like. If you have a song request, please write. To be notified of future videos, hit the bell. I sincerely hope that you are well. Please hit that like button in blue. I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe too. I hope this video has been a blessing. You've been watching Logan's Lessons.